Have you ever noticed that just when you're finally starting to move on, he sends you a message? It's not magic. It's not good fortune. It's about how people think and act. And today I'm going to share the one important truth that almost every woman misses when a man starts to become distant. Here it is. Men don't fall in love when they are with you. They fall in love when they are not around you. Take a moment to really think about that. Because if you're always sending messages, checking in, or trying to fix what went wrong, you're taking away the very space his mind needs to understand what he might lose. Here's the truth no one really talks about. Being apart is where desire grows. Men are naturally built to look for things, to wonder, to miss. If you're always there, always answering, always trying to show your worth, you are stopping that natural process. I know it's tough. I know quiet can feel like he's rejecting you. But the woman who understands how strong her absence can be is the one you won't forget. In this discussion, I'm going to show you how to change your way of thinking, stop giving too much, and make him feel the loss, not you. Because when you learn to relax, connect with your calm feminine side, and stop trying to get answers, that's when amazing things happen. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to be the woman he can't stop thinking about, even if he left. Especially if he left. This is how you stop reacting and start attracting. Let's talk about something that makes most women panic and completely lose their strength in relationships. When a man becomes distant, you might be talking regularly. Things feel great, maybe even perfect. Then suddenly, his attitude changes. Attitude changes. When you think things might be wrong, the mind starts racing. Everything gets stone. Your mind and body starting conversations. He seems far away, distracted, maybe even cold. Your mind starts racing. Did I say something wrong? Is he losing interest? Was it all pretend? But here's the truth most women never hear. Him becoming distant doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It doesn't mean he doesn't care. In fact, it can be a very good thing. Let me explain. Male energy naturally goes in cycles. It's like a wave. A man moves closer when he feels connected and safe. But he also naturally pulls back to think, process things, and reflect. It's not a rejection. It's a natural part of him. Think of it like a rubber band. When you stretch it back, it springs forward with more power. That's how healthy male desire works. When a man becomes distant, he's not always disappearing. Sometimes he's just checking in with himself. He's asking, how do I feel about her? Do I miss her? Am I ready for more? And this is where most women mess everything up. They chase him. They try too hard. They explain too much. They try to fix the mood or point out the distance. But all that does is show him that your whole world revolves around him. And that's not appealing. That's pressure. And pressure is the quickest way to make a man go even farther away. What he needs in that moment is actually the opposite. He needs to feel your absence, not your worry. When a woman allows space without reacting, she becomes powerful, not just sitting around, but truly strong. She lets him feel what life is like without her energy constantly coming his way. And you know what happens? If the connection is real, he starts to miss her. He remembers how she made him feel. Not because she reminded him, but because she let him feel it. This is the moment when your energy speaks louder than any words you could say. Most women think they need to do more. But the woman who stays calm and centered, who remains gentle but respects herself, who doesn't beg for attention or clear answers, that's the woman who becomes unforgettable. Because it's not about punishing him, it's about protecting your own peace. It's about understanding that if he's meant for you, he'll come back with understanding, not confusion. If he doesn't, that's also not a loss. That's a discovery. You didn't lose him. You simply saw who he really was. A man becoming distant is like a mirror. It shows you where you still need others to make you feel good about yourself. It shows you where you hold on tightly instead of relaxing. And when you don't react to him pulling back, but instead become more sure of your own worth, that's when the relationship changes. You become the woman who doesn't chase connection. She creates it. And the right man won't want to risk losing that. So next time he becomes distant, take a breath. Don't beg. Don't panic. Sit in your own strength. Let the space speak. Because silence isn't a weakness. It's the most powerful sound he'll ever hear. And trust me, he'll feel it. And if he's worth it, he'll come back. There's something incredibly appealing about a woman who doesn't get rattled. She doesn't panic when it takes him hours to reply. She doesn't freak out when plans change. She doesn't beg, chase, or try to force things to happen. She's calm, collected, and present. And that kind of energy, that's rare. That's impossible to resist. We call this the unbothered way of thinking, and no, it's not about being cold, distant, or pretending you don't care. It's not fake confidence. It's not about being boastful. The unbothered way of thinking is about one powerful truth. You do not put your emotional well-being in someone else's hands. You see, most women have been taught to believe that love means putting in too much effort, that caring means constant communication, that if you're not showing interest, you're losing him. But the truth is, always being available reduces your value. Always reacting to his energy puts you in a position where you depend on him emotionally. The unbothered woman knows she is the source, not the one who needs to seek. She understands that a man being distant, quiet, or inconsistent says more about him than it ever will about her worth. She doesn't need to prove anything. She doesn't enter emotional arguments trying to convince someone to choose her. She knows that if you have to convince someone to stay, they were never truly committed. That kind of quiet confidence creates space. It gives him room to think, to want to come towards you, not because you demanded it, but because your calm presence invited it. Men aren't drawn to confusion. They are drawn to clarity. And when you give off peace instead of panic, certainty instead of clinginess, you don't just stand out, you stand apart. The unbothered way of thinking doesn't mean you don't feel. You're human. You'll feel everything. But it means you pause before reacting. You check in with yourself before reaching out. You ask, is this coming from my inner wisdom or from fear? And if it's fear, you sit with it. When a woman lives from her own power, her standards don't change based on who is in front of her. Her energy doesn't shift depending on who is sending her messages or who is distant that day. She becomes stable, grounded, consistent. And here's the wild part. That kind of energy makes him uncertain. In the best way, it makes him curious, interested, maybe even a little anxious, because now he's wondering what's going on in your world that makes you so complete without his constant approval. That's when the whole situation changes. That's when he leans in, not because you played a game, but because you stopped playing him. Most women give everything to a man and hope he'll choose her. The unbothered woman chooses herself first and lets the right man meet her there. And when he doesn't, she lets him go peacefully, quietly, without begging for answers, because she knows her value doesn't change based on someone else's confusion. That's why she's unforgettable. So if you want to become truly appealing, not just to him, but to everything that's meant for you, start practicing this way of thinking. Start asking yourself, would the woman I am becoming chase this, obsess over this, or shrink herself for this? If the answer is no, then your response becomes simple. You rise above it. You stay gentle but firm, kind but clear, open but never desperate. That's the woman he loses sleep over. That's the energy he keeps coming back to. Not because she tried to impress him, but because she stopped needing to. That's the unbothered way of thinking, and that's how you become absolutely impossible to resist. Let's be clear. Men don't fall in love with how someone looks. They are attracted by appearance, yes, but they stay because of a person's energy. Specifically, feminine energy. The kind that pulls him in without you ever needing to do anything. The kind that speaks louder than words, louder than any text or we need to talk moment. Feminine energy is your secret advantage. And when you learn how to use it on purpose. So what does it look like when a woman moves with her feminine energy? It's not about being obedient. It's not about making yourself smaller, playing a minor role, or always agreeing. Feminine energy is about flowing with things. It's about being open to receiving. It's about how you walk into a room without trying to get attention, yet somehow everyone notices you. It's about gentleness with strength, openness with clear limits, warmth with self, and that combination triggers something very basic in a man. It awakens his natural desire to pursue. One of the most powerful feminine actions is leaning back, not doing nothing, but doing it on purpose. It means you stop trying to control the relationship and start allowing space for him to take the lead. You let him initiate things. You let him show up. You receive. Not because you can't give, but because you know your value doesn't depend on effort. It depends on energy. Another feminine energy action is being present. Put your phone down when you're with him. Truly listen. Laugh fully. Show your emotions. Let him feel how alive you are. It is not about asking for. It's about asking in. It is about asking in angst and in fear. Dominance in. It's about a deep inner knowing. Men are not looking for complex ideas in their romantic connections. They are looking for feelings. When you are fully in your body, firmly in the present moment, and truly expressing yourself without holding back, he does not just see you, he truly remembers you. And then there is the quality of mystery. You do not need to share every detail of your life story in one evening. Hold back some things for later. Feminine energy does not talk too much about itself. It invites curiosity. It allows him to lean in, to ask questions, to put in some effort to get to know you. You are not putting on a show. You are showing yourself slowly, little by little. The woman who does not rush to make a good impression makes a man wonder what is truly beneath the surface. And that sense of curiosity creates a strong desire. Movements are another quiet yet strong feminine energy approach. Let your shoulders relax, take deep breaths, do not cross your arms, move in a calm way. Look into his eyes, then gently look away. Look into his eyes, then gently look away. You smile when you genuinely mean it. Lightly touch your neck or collarbone while you are listening. Not in a forced or planned way, but because you are connected with your own body. That feeling of being in your body is appealing without trying to be alluring. It is the feeling that says, I feel good just being myself, and that is what pulls him in. And finally, standards. Yes, this is a very feminine quality, knowing what you will and will not put up with, calmly stating what you need and being able to walk away when something is not good for you. That is feminine energy in its most solid form. A woman who values her inner calm more than she fears losing a man. She is captivating because she is not afraid to lose him. She understands she will never lose what is truly meant for her. When you combine these actions, stepping back, being present, having a sense of mystery, using your body language effectively, and having firm standards, you create a kind of energy that men do not just go after. They respect it, they crave it, they remember it. Because it is not about trying to trick him into wanting you. And it is not about putting in a lot of effort. It is about becoming the kind of through hard work. You are simply lucky to be near her. And that, more than anything else, is what makes him want to come back. So he has come back. Maybe it has been days, maybe weeks, or perhaps he disappeared completely. But now, all of a sudden, he sends a simple, hey, or I've been thinking about you message, and your heart flutters. You feel a sudden rush of emotions, confusion, excitement, a sense of being valued, maybe even hope. But before you reply, take a deep breath. This very moment right here is where most women give up their power. The truth is, what you say and what you do not say when he returns sets the entire mood for everything that happens next. If your first thought is to flood him with messages, demand answers, or instantly forgive him just because he reached out, that is not a genuine connection. It is a quick reaction, and men can sense that. The most effective thing you can do right now is not to try to prove your worth with words. It is to keep your inner energy calm and steady. So what should you definitely avoid saying when he comes back? Do not start with, "Where have you been?" or "I missed you so much." Those might be your true feelings, and they are understandable. But those words put him in a controlling position. They show that you have been waiting and holding on. And whether you realize it or not, it actually encourages his inconsistent behavior. Do not immediately start explaining how you feel or asking for clear answers. You do not owe emotional effort to someone who left you hanging. If he wants to be back in your life, he needs to earn his place with real, steady effort, not just quick check-ins when it is convenient for him. Also, avoid using sharp, punishing words like, "Oh, look who finally decided to show up." That might feel good for a moment, but it shuts down the emotional openness you have worked so hard to build. Now, let us talk about what to say instead. If you are willing to listen to him, keep your response calm, polite, and self-colerned. A simple, "Hey, nice to hear from you. What made you reach out?" is very strong. It places the responsibility on him to start a real conversation, not just to see how you react. If he sends something vague like, "I miss you," do not immediately jump into sharing your feelings. Instead, reply with something like, "I hope you have been well." Keep it short, calm, and balanced. It shows you are not angry, but you are also not instantly falling back into an emotional dream. And if you're not sure about your own feelings, that is perfectly okay. You can say, "I have been focusing on myself. I need to think about whether connecting again is the right choice for me right now." That simple statement alone will make him stop and think. Now you are the one making the choices. You are in control, and that is incredibly effective. What makes this approach so strong is that it shows you have a high sense of your own value. You are not playing games, but you are also not giving instant access to someone who once chose to leave. Let him feel that. Let him sense that your world did not fall apart when he was gone. Remember, how you respond teaches people how to treat you. When you keep your inner calm, your gentleness, and your standards, you show him that getting you back is not a sure thing. Just because he has returned does not mean he automatically gets to pick up where things stopped. Your presence is a special thing, and he will either rise to meet it or he will not. Either way, your self-worth stays strong. So the next time he comes back, do not panic. Do not try to act a certain way. Just pause and remember you do not need the perfect words. You only need the right feeling. That is what he will send. That is what will speak louder than anything you say. Let us be very clear about one thing. You are the valuable one. Not because you say it, not because you post about it online, but because you truly embody it. When you truly understand this, your energy changes instantly. People start reacting to you differently, not because you have become a different person, but because you have finally remembered your own worth. Now let us talk about what this also does for our life. That is why this guest, without saying too much, is Dave Becker. My good brother Dave from the LA Lahanas. Being the valuable one is not about being overly proud, playing hard to get, being unavailable, or acting like you are better than everyone else. That is not real strength. That is just putting on a show. And deep down, people can tell when it is not genuine. True valuable energy is calm, steady, and says, "I know what I bring. I do not need to chase, prove myself, or put on an act." It is the woman who walks into a room and does not look around to see who is watching her because she is not performing. She is simply present, and that presence is very appealing. The big change happens when you stop asking, "Does he like me?" and start asking, "Do I even like how I feel when I am around him?" That small change in the question you ask yourself is a huge shift in your energy. Now you are no longer waiting for approval. You are observing, you are choosing, you are filtering, not begging. This strong energy comes from knowing that you are not competing with anyone. When you fully accept your unique energy, your personal story, your presence, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop thinking too much about what another woman has. You realize no one can be you better than you can. And when you adopt this way of thinking, it becomes less about whether he texts you back and more about whether his energy matches your inner peace. One of the fastest ways to truly feel like the valuable one is to stop lowering your standards just to keep someone in your life. If he is unreliable, unclear, or playing games, you do not try harder. You step back, not to manipulate, but because you will not tolerate energy that confuses you. You see, a man might not always say what is happening, but he always senses your energy. When you are anxious, overthinking, or too attached to a certain outcome, it gently pushes him away. Not because you are too much, but because your energy is. Saying, please choose me, and that is not the energy of someone who knows their worth. The woman who is the valuable one does not beg to be chosen. She chooses herself and allows others to either rise to meet her or to gracefully leave. And here is the truly amazing part. When you shift into that feeling, it creates a strong pull. Masculine energy is drawn to a woman who knows her worth, who stays firm in it, and who does not change based on someone else's attention. It is not about not caring. The valuable one also means you are not afraid to walk away if something does not feel right. You do not try to force a connection. You do not hold on to potential. You do not stay just to prove you are worthy. You understand that the right connection will never ask you to abandon who you are. And that is self-trust. That is a kind of magic. So if you want to move into this energy today, here is what you do. You stop over-explaining things. You stop checking your phone every 5 minutes. You stop putting all your effort into someone who only gives you tiny bits of attention. And you start moving like someone who knows she is the blessing. Because when you become the valuable one, you do not just attract love. Attract respect, steady behavior, and people who value your peace because you value it first. This is not about being overly proud. It is about growing as a person. In the moment you shift into this way of being, you stop chasing and start choosing. That is when everything truly starts to change. If you want a man to pursue you again, you need to understand something powerful. Men do not pursue women. They pursue feeling, the feeling of wanting something, the feeling of not being sure, the feeling of wanting to achieve something. That is how the male energy is wired. He does not fall in love with what you could be. He falls in love with how he feels when he is with you. So if you want him to pursue you again, do not beg, convince, or explain. Trigger the right psychological responses. And it begins with one important thing: distance. Men do not pursue what they feel they already possess. When you are always available, always texting, always reacting, it stops the natural feeling of pursuit. You know you can actually remove the hidden parts. You can get rid of the emotional rub that makes someone want things. This isn't about ignoring someone completely or playing weird games with their head. It's actually about making a clear space in your energy so his mind starts wondering what's really going on with her. Just that simple question can restart his interest, and being curious is how he starts to pursue something.